Hey guys, Ritz here, and today in Ritz Reviews we're going to go over the Starlight-12 Phantom. Ah. For the review, I'm going to have a couple different criteria that I'm going to use to start judging these appropriately. To start with, I'm going to have the shape, followed by the weight, followed by the technology inside it, quality control, and then availability and pricing. I think that using these criteria and doing a 1 out of 10 scale would help me just accurately judge all of the mice going forward. First category would be the shape. This is going to be subjective, obviously, to your grip and your hand size. As you see, I'm doing a pretty aggressive claw. My hand size is 19 by 10. So if you take a look, I'm going to put the mouse to the side here. You can see where my thumb lines up. See how it's anchored more towards the back here near the back button, and going forward towards the front click is a little bit of a reach for me, just ever so slightly uncomfortable. The rest of the mouse, when it comes to just the size compared to my hand, I'm lining up. It's very comfortable, it's super lightweight. So I would honestly give the shape an 8 out of 10. Only reason being is, like I said, for me personally, my thumb has to reach forward to press that forward mouse button. That's something I'm going to be doing quite a bit in Splitgate. You're going to be portaling forward and back using those, so the less of a reach it is, the more comfortable it is. I could very much get the end here, but I would much prefer if it was ever so slightly back. Once again, this is subjective to me, but that's the only reason I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Besides that, small mouse, very comfortable. Obviously, no issues gripping it, holding it in any fashion. Second category for going over this mouse would be the weight. It is essentially in a class of its own right now. The medium, which is what I'm reviewing today, is supposed to be around 46. Depending on the manufacturing, it could be plus or minus 2, from my understanding. I don't have a weight scale to check my specifics, but I can tell you that this is the lightest mouse I have ever used. So in that category, I gotta say, you know, weight being subjective, some people like heavier mice, but I know the trend right now, including for me, is lighter is better. So using that, I'm gonna give it a 10 for they've managed to make a ultralight mouse. Third category would be the technology that's in the mouse. Just going over that, it'd be Khalil 8.0s, which are basically the trending switches as of late. They are extremely clicky. They sound sexy. Can even do a little bit of a click test here. But they feel fantastic. They sound fantastic. We like that. Only other real tech to go over it would be the wireless implementation, which I've had 0 issues with. It's 1,000 polling, 1 millisecond wireless. They have their own flat disk dongle, which is pretty nice compared to a traditional. It just sits flush on my desk. And besides that, only thing I could think of is there's potential LOD issues that people have been running into if the base plate is uneven, which you could get. Core Pads makes a 0.65 millimeter mice feet if you run into that. So that's the only concern that I have when it comes to the tech portion. But at least for the implementation, I would say things are solid, no issues there. So I'd just give it a solid 8 out of 10. Going into what I was saying about the LOD issues, I do have to say that the quality control is probably where I'd get a little bit more aggressive on this mouse. In my copy in particular, it's somewhat hard to see, but the implementation of the scroll wheel is not perfectly lined up. A lot of people have had the issue. Here you can see it probably a little bit better. Is it the worst thing in the world? No, but as you can see, for paying $189 for a high quality product, you would hope that it would have no quality control issues. That is the only issue that I have experienced on this mouse, is noticing that it is off-centered. I did accidentally misclick the mouse wheel once when I was playing the game, which I was very baffled by, but I think that's me just honestly getting used to it. But quality control wise, I do have to nick them for that. Paying $190 for a visible defect like that is not the greatest, so I'm going to give them a 6 out of 10. Final category is availability and pricing, which is another one that I will have to ding Finalmouse for. The difficulty of getting these launches are incredibly tedious to get it. A lot of people bought. They did implement some CAPTCHA, and I'm not sure if it truthfully did much. Apparently, the website also went live early, so it wasn't even properly synchronized. So people were able to sneak it in there. The only way that I managed to get one of these mice was I sat down on a Discord call of 8 people, and we're all like, if we buy it, we're gonna buy 4, and then we'll figure out how to do it. and I managed to get a buddy who snagged it and was able to get multiple, and then I bought it off him and tipped him for the extra effort because I had my friend randomly sitting in a call. But, you know, compared to Logitech or any other company where you can go and buy it, like, I understand the hype culture around it, and they make these color ways that are fantastic. Like, I look at this and I'm like, this mouse is absolutely beautiful. And I understand them having it limited and what makes that special, but goddamn, it is so much effort to get these mice. Like, I got the M2K, which is a $300 carbon fiber square, and at least I just had to work with the manufacturer and I got it. It might have took a month or two for them to finally get it, but, you know, I've dealt with companies that have smaller mice pools and was still able to get them. And this one has been like, I want a Finalmouse. I'm going to dedicate 6 months of my life tracking down every launch. Or you could buy aftermarket, but then you worry about, you know, support if you get it through eBay or so forth. So availability and pricing, with them being a high expensive product, availability being poor, it's another like 6 out of 10, maybe even lower. Because I mean, like, I can't think of any other product that's this pain in the ass to get. So maybe honestly like a 4 or 5. How bad should I put it? Honestly, you know what, now that I'm saying it out loud, let's go with a 4. I'm gonna go 4 out of 10 for availability and pricing, because this is fucking hard to get. Final answer. So going through and adding this all up, I gave it an 8 for shape, I gave it a 10 for weight, gave it an 8 for tech, gave it a 6 for quality control, and I gave it a 4 for availability and pricing. Doing all that, dividing it by 5, 7.2 is the final score, and I'd say that's appropriate. It's a good mouse, super lightweight, absolutely pretty, but with the LOD issues that people have been talking about, my scroll wheel not being centered, despite them stating that that was something that they were working on, and how hard it is to get these, it's, I think, a solid 7 out of 2, or 7.2 sounds good, out of 10. Almost forgot to talk about the skates here. Skates, as you notice, you have the 4 corners. This is version grade PTFE. Pretty comfortable glide. I would say that when I was doing some Kovac scenarios, it was probably a little bit more sticky than I would like. I'm definitely a big fan of third-party skates, such as the Corpads or even the Tiger Ice are really nice. So while I think the stock is perfectly fine, these I would probably swap out whenever those are available in Lethal Gaming. However, they sell very quickly, so good luck with that. Some things to consider. I have some closing thoughts on this mouse. One thing that really makes it special is because it's made of that metal, it's actually nice and cool all the time. I am someone who gets kind of sweaty hands, as gross as that is, and I have to say, the thing that's really cool is if this mouse, you know, if I start getting sweaty, I step away and come back 30 seconds later and pick up the mouse, it's ice cool again. It actually cools down relatively quick. I am in the south, so things don't get too terribly cold. I am kind of curious if anyone has one of these mice when it's like their house is freezing, and if this mouse is like Skypad, like, oh my god, this is cold. So that is something additional that makes it super unique, is it definitely has a cooling factor. So if you have really warm hands, you might really enjoy it. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. This was my review of the Starlight-12 Phantom. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, what you would like me to review next. I'm kind of thinking I'm going to go ahead and do probably the Pulsar X-Lite Wireless next. It's one of my personal favorites. But hey, if you have a suggestion, something you didn't like, you know, you didn't agree with me, let me know. And keep in mind that this is all subjective to me and my hand size. So ultimately, you might have a different grip, you might like something different, and we'll probably come to a different conclusion than I did, but at least I can give you my opinion. Anyways, hope you like and subscribe.